Okay, I gave my perspective on morality the other day, and I did that primarily because I've made a number of videos on morality, and when I've done so, I've always been considering some of those situations, I realise, from a slightly different perspective than some other people that have watched the video, and because of that I thought it was probably wise to try and clarify the difference so that people can see where there is a difference of opinion, what that difference of opinion is. What I wanted to do was just follow it up and make a few comments about the Bible and the Bible as a source of morality. It's quite interesting that there's quite a lot of moral claims made in the Bible, and of course in just the same way that I said that moral statements were more about us influencing the behaviour of others, that's exactly what the authors of the Bible are attempting to do. The statements, the moral statements that are in the Bible there aren't about the authors of those books reflecting on their own behaviour, it's about them condemning and condoning behaviour in us. That's their attempt to influence our behaviour and behaviour in their lifetimes. It's not about their own behaviour. There'd be no need to write a book if it was just about your own behaviour. Of course, there's the whole idea of Moses on Mount Sinai and the Ten Commandments. It's quite naive to take that literally, but even if we did take that literally, what would that be God doing? That would be God doing the same thing, wouldn't it? That wouldn't be God telling us about his behaviour. That would be God trying to influence our behaviour. This is how you ought to behave, not necessarily how I behave. Of course, it's quite illuminating that from that point on, we then look back now, don't we, at God and say, well, is God a credible moral agent? Is God living up to those standards that he's given for us? If we're going to take him seriously as a credible moral agent, we need to see these moral claims that he's making reflected in his own behaviour. What I find most interesting about considering the Bible isn't considering the Bible itself, but some of the claims people make. People like Ray Comfort make the claim that if it wasn't for the Bible, they really don't know whether they'd be a nice person, what they'd be able to base their behaviour, what would stop them going out and murdering. Of course, in any kind of way that we frame morality, there's lots that could be said about that. I would suggest that intuitively, instinctively, we don't go around mindlessly murdering any more than my pet cat goes around instinctively, mindlessly murdering. You can make an evolutionary case of that almost whatever moral perspective that you have. But if you frame Ray Comfort's predicament there in the terms that I've used, I think it becomes even more clear why it's a ridiculous thing to say. Because what he would be saying is, well, if it wasn't for the Bible, on what grounds would I want to dissuade you and everybody else from going around mindlessly murdering? Well, I think the answer to that one is so blindingly obvious I'm not even going to spell that one out. I just wanted to give those kind of examples just to give an idea of where I'm coming from, where I look at some of these things, because I do realise it's different than the perspective that some of you have out there. That's not to say that your perspective isn't valid or my perspective's right, but when we have these discussions, that's the perspective I'm coming from. I thought if I furnished it with a couple of examples, it might be a worthwhile exercise. Well, anyway, thanks for watching once again. Bye for now.